Hello and welcome to Elecspo, and once again we're talking about FIFA 21 ratings. The other week we looked at 20 Premier League players who will be set for a downgrade on the new game, and today we're branching out even further. There are players in Serie A and La Liga who've also gotten worse, so today I've got 9 more players who will be downgraded on FIFA 21. Let's go. Number 1, EDINSON CAVANI. While he's still a top class centre forward, there's no way that EDINSON CAVANI will start FIFA 21 as the same as he did on FIFA 20. On last year's game he kicked off with an 88, yet in the most recent update he's down to an 86. And I think by the time FIFA 21 hits the shelves, he'll be an 85. He's no longer the force he once was, only netting 4 times in 14 League 1 games last time out. But the interesting question is, which club will he have joined by then? Cavani left PSG in June, even before they competed in the Champions League, and since then he's failed to get himself a new club. There's been talk of Newcastle, Leeds, Benfica and now Juventus, but still no deal in sight for one of South America's best strikers. Number 2, Luka Modric. The Croatian midfielder is another player who's regressed during the time FIFA 20's been out, starting the game as a 90 before dropping down to an 89. I mean Christ, it's hardly a drop, but he's still one of the best players on the game and one of the best midfielders in the world. But 89 or 88 is where he'll be for FIFA 21, with Modric starting to slow slightly at the age of 34. He's still a midfield marvel, a far cry from the player who was once branded the worst signing of the year by the Spanish press. But hey, maybe a downgrade for Modric on FIFA will be vindication for them. Number 3, Antoine Griezmann. This is possibly a controversial one, but personally I don't think Antoine Griezmann should still be an 89 on FIFA 21. The French forwards had a season to forget at Barcelona, with his arrival coinciding with a truly awful season that ended in embarrassment and nearly forced Lionel Messi to leave the club. Christ, the only reason he hasn't gone is because the club won't budge on his crazy release clause. But Griezmann's been nowhere near as good as he was at Atletico, maybe stuck in the shadows of Messi and Suarez. Obviously there's room for him to improve, but on FIFA 21 I think he should drop down to an 88. Number 4, Philippe Coutinho. We've got another Barcelona player who's involved in that 8-2 thrashing courtesy of Bayern Munich, the only difference being Coutinho's on the other side and scored 2 and set up another. But despite that, he too is a player who sees his rating go down slightly on FIFA 21. His rating already went down during FIFA 20, going from an 86 to an 85, and I think by the time FIFA 21 comes out it'll be an 84. Coutinho's days at the top when he was tearing up at Liverpool seem to be over, and while he can still be an excellent player, his form over the last 2 years suggests that maybe he's on the decline. Number 5, David Luiz. I didn't mention him in the Premier League videos, I was too busy basically slagging off Mesut Ozil, which was a bit mean, sorry Mesut, but I was so busy that I failed to mention that David Luiz definitely needs a downgrade, and for much worse reasons than Ozil. While the midfielder just hasn't been playing, David Luiz has been really bad at times. Sure, some games he's solid as a rock and pings the ball from defence like he's a quarterback, but other times you'd rather have Sideshow Bob in your back 4. At the start of FIFA 20 he was an 83, but this year he'll be looking to scrape an 80. Number 6, Paul POGBA. The French midfielder's rating got slightly lower during FIFA 20, and to be honest I think that's what will happen for FIFA 21. At the start he was an 88 with the potential to get to the 90s, but he went down to an 87 with less potential, and that's what I think he'll be on FIFA 21. Sure, he had a great end to the season and was really helped out by the arrival of Bruno Fernandes, but he didn't do enough to justify the initial rating, so I think he'll be an 87. But no matter what, he's still a class to use on FIFA, simply because he can bang them in from literally anywhere, which is always a good thing. Unless you're against them, then it's kind of a bad thing. Number 7, Christian Eriksen. So he got his big money move away from Tottenham that he was craving, but rather than joining Barca or Real Madrid, the fashion capital of the world was his next destination. Okay, it was just Milan, which apparently isn't the fashion capital, which I think tells you all you need to know about my clothing expertise. Anyway, he joined Inter Milan in January, and he hasn't been as influential as he had been in a Spurs shirt, and when you consider he was an 88 for FIFA 20, I think he's got to go down sadly. 86 might be a bit more accurate for the best thing to come out of Denmark since the wonderful world of Lego. Number 8, GIORGIO Chiellini. While Roberto Mancini may have forgot about him the other day because of a spectacle-based mishap, we won't forget about the giant Italian. Although in this instance he probably wishes we would forget about him. Although he isn't going to be watching, is he? He was a 90 on FIFA 20, and that's just not going to happen this time out, especially after missing most of the season due to injury. 88 is probably the best Chiellini can hope for, but with Luis Suarez potentially arriving, FIFA ratings are the least of his worries. And finally number 9, GERARD Piqué. We end with another defender, and another player who's embarrassed this season more than Jeremy Swaz-Lynch in Soccer Aid. Sure, he may have won in the end, but he still got tackled by John Bishop. He'll be crying about that moment for years in his Lamborghini. Just in case you didn't know, he's apparently got a Lamborghini. Anyway, Piqué was part of the defence that shipped 8 goals against Bayern, and he just looked like a lost puppy out there, begging for Shaqiri to come and pick him up and take him away from the fresh hell that was under the Bayern high press. Piqué was an 89 on FIFA 20, and I'd maybe even say an 87 would be a bit more appropriate for FIFA 21. I wonder what my rating would be on FIFA. Maybe a 6? Potential for a 9? Anyway, that's 9 more players who should be downgraded on FIFA 21. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Elecspo, and until next time, we'll see you around.